Happy 4th of July weekend. And everybody take extra precautions to drive safely. And have you seen fireworks yet? Oh. Well, in Bellevue, they have been blowing them off all week. Just have to sit out there at 9 o'clock at night in some neighborhood somewhere or shoot them off. So, all right, well, let's take a moment and pray together as we set the intention for our service. Let us take half a minute and raise our vibrations. And on this weekend, we celebrate the 4th of July. We celebrate also our freedom to gather as spiritual community. And we give thanks for all the joy and the enthusiasm and in this sanctuary. We uplift everyone, and we see everybody that is healing now, in and out of hospitals, in the process of making their transition with peace of mind and ease and just surrendering to what is. We come here to remind each other that we're made in the image and likeness of God, and that we're here to be the co-creators under Spirit's guidance for everything that we want to manifest in this world, both individually, collectively, and globally. So we hold all the children of the world in our prayers. We pray that all their needs are met, that they feel love, that they are loving. And we pray daily for all the world leaders. We pray that they're taking a moment to reflect and contemplate and listen to their higher self, and then take action for the good of the whole global family. And for the teachings of our elder brother, Jesus the Christ, we say thank you, God. Amen. Let us say our vision: a world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of shared spiritual awakening, welcoming, diverse, prayerful, transformational, abundant, joyful, and empowering. And our statement of being. God is all, both invisible and visible. One presence, one mind, one power is all. This one that is all is perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. I am an individualized expression of God. I am ever one with this perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance.
Good morning. This next song is about, well, it's about many things, but it's really about us, you as an individual, us as spirits here on this earth, to take the next step, take the step to make the difference. Be childlike in everything you do, learn from the children, and take that one step to make a difference.
Living here on earth, I walk in the footsteps of those who've gone before. And this road I traveled on will lift me up and make me strong. So when people ask me what this journey's for, if I take one step in the right direction, if I touch one heart along the way, and if that one step becomes a chain reaction, then my journey has not been in vain. I get my inspiration from the words of the children, trying to teach myself what they already know. If I can show my fellow man what a child can understand, then the seeds that I have sown will surely grow. Is that right? If I take one step in the right direction, if I touch one heart along the way, if that one step becomes a chain reaction, then my journey has not been in vain. I know no countries, I know no governments, I just know the people I've had the joy to meet. And the only fact I know is this peace is better when I show. When you see me walking down the street, if I take one step in the right direction, if I touch one heart along the way, if that one step becomes a chain reaction, then my journey has not been in vain. One more time. If we take one step in the right direction, everybody, if we touch one heart along the way, if that one step becomes a chain reaction, then our journey has not been in vain. Then our journey has not been, I said it has not been in vain. That's called belting it out, isn't it? Good morning. Welcome to Unity Spiritual Center. My name is Juanita Loomis, and it is my pleasure to serve you as platform assistant today. Thank you for joining us.
Spiritual Center is our spiritual home where we know, we love, and we serve God through our prayer, our meditation, our Sunday celebrations, our classes, and community. We appreciate the talents of our music team. Now please stand and join us in singing our joy song. The words are on the screen. Hi there. If this is, can you hear me okay? Seems like echoing. If this is your first time with us, welcome to Unity. We're glad you're here and we appreciate your wearing a name tag, as we all do, just like this one, so we can get to know your name. Because I forget. If you would like a guest packet, please stop by our Welcome Center desk, right out in the sanctuary after the service. It looks like this, so then you'll have your very own. Our Welcome Center volunteers are happy to answer your questions and give you information about Unity. And now, you are never alone on the road of life, and you are not alone here. There will be more time to greet each other after the service. Enjoy the refreshments right in that community room across the lobby. Now, it's time for community greeting. That means vitamin H. We are a hugging community, believe it. If you would prefer not to have a hug, put out your hand and we'll be glad to shake the hand for you too. Now, After a few minutes, you'll hear music, or you'll hear that old bell of mine, and that's the indication that it's time to get back in your seats. Let's go. Sundays, each month, we celebrate all the birthdays and anniversaries for the month. Now, if you have an anniversary this month, will you please stand? If you have a birthday this month, will you please stand? That's a birthday. We're waiting. Okay, I think that about now it's joke time. Okay. Husband and wife, they had a kid. The wife called up, she called her mom, and she said, "He fought with me again. I'm coming to live with you." Mom said, "No, darling, he must pay for his mistake. I'm coming to live with you." And just one more. Sunday morning, his mother went in to wake her son to go to church. It was time to get ready. So he replied, "I'm not going." "Why not?" she asked. "I'll give you 2 good reasons. They don't like me, and I don't like them." His mother replied, "I'll give you 2 reasons why you should go to church. Number 1, you're 59 years old, and you're the pastor." Okay, my work here is done. The prayer chaplain will read daily word, the spiritual power of the month, and he will bless the prayer box.
Good morning, everyone. Would the prayer chaplains who are in service today please stand? Okay. We've got 3 of us. If any of you have any need for private prayer, you can approach any one of us after the service. We have 2 prayer rooms, one on each side. You can, we'll take you in there if that's where you prefer to have some more peace and quiet. Otherwise, we'll pray with you wherever you are. So. The daily word that I'm going to read from today is from the Daily Word, which you can find in our bookstore, which is off from the community room on the other side of the narthex. And the word for today is spiritual support. It's based upon scripture from John chapter 12, verse 36. "While you have the light, believe in the light, so that you may become children of light." And the theme is spiritual support. I am grateful for my spiritual support system, the people and practices that reinforce my spiritual understanding. Prayer is an integral part of that system. I take time each day to quiet my thoughts, speak prayerful words, or simply be. I am part of something greater than myself. Keeping this truth in my heart prepares me for any seeming challenge in my life. Knowing that God and I are one gives me strength. I build up my support system by reaching out to people, forming friendships, joining prayer partners, and attending church services. In this way, I bolster my sense of belonging. I find inspiration to live my life purpose. I also become part of the support system for others. I give and receive light and love. And if you would repeat the affirmation. Receive light and love. The spiritual power for the month of July is love. The corresponding color is pink, as shown on this drapery that we have in front. The center of love is located in the back of the heart. Love is the ability to attract, unify, and desire. Love is represented by Mary of Nazareth and John, son of Zebedee. The historical Mary was probably physically robust, strong-minded, practical, respectful of tradition, and loyal to her family, all characteristics of scriptural women in general. John was singled out among the disciples as being the one whom Jesus loved, and that's in quotes. John was especially loyal to Jesus. He was the only one of the 12 apostles present at the cross. He represents unconditional acceptance and forgiveness. Please join me in saying the affirmation. I express unconditional love for myself and others, bringing healing and harmony into my life. And now we'll bless the prayer box. Let's just close our eyes, and if we're not already in that sacred space, move into it. And as you focus your attention on this prayer box and the names of the people that are in it, let us affirm the one truth we know, that there is only one power in the universe, God good. And that power expresses through each one of the individuals whose names are in this box, expressing uniquely, providing them with healing, with wholeness, with abundance, with harmony, with all that is needed, mentally, physically, and spiritually. And so we let go and allow divine order to unfold in their lives. We know this, we affirm it, and so it is. Amen. Amen.
Good morning. Good morning. It's good to see you this morning. It's my first time on the podium since we've moved, and you're looking marvelous out here this morning. So, I'm Reese Dolan. Some of you know me as the kitchen witch, or worse. And I'm here to talk about manifestation this morning. In the past, I belonged to 2 Unity churches in Raleigh before I moved here 4 years ago. And of course, both of those churches taught manifestation. But until recently, I don't think I realized that I've manifested events in my life unknowingly by seeing things that I really wanted. So 2 of those stand out to me recently, and I thought I would share those with you. The part of that paper that I think Marge gave us on manifestation says, I accept unexpected offers, unexpected prosperity coming in unexpected ways from unexpected places in my life. In 2013, I was working in corporate America, and I decided it was time to look around for a new home. I'd been in my home for 20 years, and things needed to be done, and I wasn't really up to that. My lifestyle had changed. I was having a hard time climbing up and down all those stairs. So I pictured a home that I wanted. And I looked around in Raleigh, but it just didn't happen. It just didn't happen. So later in 2013, I found out that I would be retiring. And I have a brother in Ocala, so he invited me down. And he said, why don't you look around down here? So sure enough, I looked around, and 2 days later, I made an offer on a home in the Villages. And that's where I am today. And I love it. was exactly like what I pictured in my mind earlier that year, just not in the same place. So that was wonderful for me, and I still love my home very much. So most recently, a few months ago, I decided that I needed to make a change in the job that I was working, which was in a call center over in Leesburg. It was a bit stressful, and I'm at an age and a stage where I just really don't want to be under that pressure that I was when I was in corporate America. So I decided I wanted to look for a part-time job, working from home, so I wouldn't have to farm the dog out when I went to work, and I had more time in my home. So I decided that I would do that a few months ago, and I said after I get back from my trip over Memorial Day, I will decide to look around and figure out what I could find. So when I'm in Raleigh, I have a wonderful time with my family and my friends, and I met with one of my girlfriends whom I've known for 25 years, and we got to talking about her situation and mine. She is an estate administrator, legal lawyer there in Raleigh, and has been for a number of years. And she said, I'm working from home now because I'm going to be winding down on my practice to retire, and my administrator, the person, the legal assistant, is no longer here. So why don't you come to work for me? And I said, okay. So I accepted that job, and that's what I'm doing now, working from home. I'm enjoying that very much, and I'm learning, of course, but it's a perfect position for me. So I'm very thankful, and I wanted to share that with you. Thank you.
Just talked about the spiritual power of the month, which is love. We talk about love all the time. We are love. We need to be love. This next song was actually written by Kieran Taylor Good. Maybe some of you know Kieran Taylor Good. And it was actually written originally for the tragedy that happened at Sandy Hook. But when you listen to the lyrics, you can attribute this to any event like that, where we've lost souls. And oftentimes, many times, we ask ourselves why. Why is that the case? Maybe it's here to teach us something. And these lyrics really do reflect that.
They say that evil came to town, and all those precious souls went down in vain. Some say love fell victim to nothing of the world we knew remained. Search for meaning here, pray to God Judy.
Beautiful song, and Karen Taylor Good and Harold Payne, they really put a lot of thought and meaning into their lyrics. They don't just kind of keep repeating the same stanza. I want to thank some people who helped out in our church this week, Pam and Tom Trefane for help with the prayer spiral out there. Linda Shaw, who did our copying for the first batch of music. Joni Spires, our CPA. Thank all the PACT people, especially Karen Donahue, for organizing all those rides and meals for people in need. Steve Camp for our ASAP prayer list and for editing our e-news. Karin is just so entertained and pleased with herself when it comes back with Steve only saying there was one comma or one period that she missed. She feels like she has arrived. And Ellen Kronos and Mary Ellen Taylor for their work this week with decorating. Barbara McManus, who continues to do a phenomenal job on our website. Bless you, thank you so much. And Barbara Richards, who's all about selling in the bookstore. And just a couple of announcements. We've got quite a few empowering programs in July, so pay attention to your e-news and your bulletin. If you didn't get a July bulletin, this is a good day to pick it up. And then we have postcards around that advertise the Daniel Nahmod concert on that Saturday afternoon, August 5th. So if you have some people that you'd like to invite, bring over a postcard. It does say a $20 suggested love offering. So we would rather have the place full, and if $20 is too much, or $40 too much for a couple, come and put in what you can, because they're New Thought artists, and they would rather have an audience than 20 or 30 people here. We have a power lunch this Wednesday, so come if you really want to put love into action into your life. And we do need 2 people this week for 2 hours to copy music. And Karin will be in tomorrow, and then we'll both be in, the office will be open Wednesday, Thursday, Friday from 9 to 4. So if there's any way you could give us 2 hours to stand there at the copier and copy the music, we would greatly appreciate it. There's a sign up on the activity table out there in the community room. Okay, I can't quite remember the joke I was going to tell, so I'll try. A farmer was, and we tell a joke here every Sunday, I do, because, spirituality is about joy. And so we make fun of everybody. We make fun of the Germans, the Irish, the Norwegians, the Unitarians, the Unity people, you name it, we make fun of them. So we all take a turn. And so that's, if you don't understand humor and you never laugh, that's okay too. So, farmer's going along a little fast and gets stopped by a state trooper. So, I've never been stopped by a state trooper, but I know when you get stopped by a state trooper, it's pretty serious. And so the state trooper says, hey, buddy, you're going a little fast there. And farmer says, well, I've got a lot to do and the crops are in and, I really apologize. And he's, I got to give you a ticket. So, starts writing it down. The farmer says, hey, I noticed there's a bunch of flies around you. And he says, flies, they usually hang around around the horses behind. And the state trooper, before that, here I'm messing up, he started to give the farmer some stuff about going fast and all that and how she can work effort. So that kind of set the farmer off. You know how it goes, how we react like that. So the state trooper says, are you trying to call me, and use your imagination on this one, a horse is behind? And the farmer said, no, sir, I have way too much respect for the law to ever do that. So he gets the ticket and he thanks the state trooper and he says, but you can't fool those flies. Okay, so this is the month we are studying love, and it's one of our 12 powers. So if you're new here, we choose one power, every month, and we do it according to the chakras. So we are at the heart level now here on our 7th month of the year. And the reason we study these is they're spiritual tools. So even if we activate them for just a few minutes every day as we go through the month, we'll notice that that power is more alive and more active in us. Phil Pearson writes in his book, The 12 Freedoms, "There's no greater authority for the central role that the faculty of love plays than that of Jesus." And Jesus is our way shower here in Unity. It doesn't mean he's the only way shower. He's a master. There's many masters on the planet, and there have been. It wasn't by chance that when Jesus was challenged by a lawyer as to what the great commandment was, he said, "You shall love the Lord your God with your whole heart, with your whole soul, and with your whole mind." This is the great and first commandment. And the second is, "You shall love your neighbor as yourself." The faculty of love, the power of love, is powerful energy. And Charles Fillmore, Teilhard de Chardin, and Buckminster Fuller all have recognized love as the basic energy of the universe. And Fillmore and Buckminster Fuller compare love to gravity as the kind of thing that anchors us. Teilhard de Chardin calls it the radial energy that draws all the elements of life together, resulting in a gradual process of evolution. All three recognize love being not only the attracting power of the universe, but the binding power of the universe as well. And of course, we see that many times, especially when there are tragedies, like Donna mentioned with Sandy Hook. God is love, God is spirit, and in Unity we say that God is love, light, joy, enthusiasm, intelligence. It's the energy that permeates everything. It's that force. May Rowland, who directed Silent Unity for 50 years, said she always dressed up for life. I wish I met May Rowland. This was the way she expressed her moment-by-moment appreciation for her oneness with God's presence. She believed that taking that first commandment to heart is to live your sense of being in that presence of God in every way. And it means to honor that presence in everything that you do, with how we speak, with the words we use, with our actions, with our appetite, with every area of our life. It's about being mindful of our love for God and putting our heart into everyday life. So that second commandment really becomes natural when we do this. So we have to ask ourselves, moment by moment, is what I'm being or what I'm doing or what I'm saying God-like? Am I being the Christ? We are love when we are of service, as many of you are, I know that. When we're caring, when we're giving, when we're serving humanity in some way. We are love when we go with the flow. We are love when we're flexible. We are love when we're more curious and less judgmental. A few years ago, two guys that were good friends, they had a disagreement. And one of them dressed the other guy down pretty bad. And so the guy that was dressed down told me about it. He was upset, but he said it rather nonchalantly because it was on his heart and he was hurt. And it was his good friend. So we chatted about it, and I said, well, after he said everything, I listened, and I said, well, you know, maybe the guy wasn't feeling good that day. Maybe he hadn't slept. Maybe he was angry at something else, and this just put him over the top. Maybe his wife gave him a hard time about something that he did, or he was upset about himself. It could be anything like that. Now, while we were talking, he was doing a project. And so I said, well, what are you doing? It actually turned out that he was actually doing something to help the guy who dressed him down. Now that is love. He didn't harbor ill will. He didn't go back through the years and start stacking the deck about small infractions. He just took it in, he processed it, he understands universal law. He understands he is love. Not that he could be love, but he actually is love. He is the divine force. So if he is love, then all he can be in the situation is love. And that is an example of spiritual maturity. The power of love is magnetizing, it's harmonizing, and it's unifying. And remember, though, that love is a principle. And being a principle, it means that love is actually impersonal. So whatever we focus on, it'll attract that. So if we focus on the negative, we could say we are loving the negative. The principle simply harmonizes thoughts and feelings to match the negative we're focusing on. This affects our consciousness in the same way. So there will be a tendency to harmonize the outer with the same negative focus. So negativity attracts negativity, and the inner is always an out picture of the outer. So some people naturally focus on the negative. Cora Fillmore, she was actually Charles Fillmore's secretary for many years, and then when his wife Myrtle died, after that he married Cora Fillmore. And she writes that many persons today, as a result of being forced or suppressed in their youth, have hard, unyielding places in their subconscious minds that do not give up readily to the power of the word. And so they can tell themselves to be positive, and they can tell themselves to let go of resentments, but they have these hard, unyielding places in their subconscious mind that don't want to give up to the word, to their command. And so for these, it takes much more persistence and much more work to kind of turn it around. And to love God is to see God in every person in our path. To love ourselves is to see the God within us. And it is moving our level of love from a desire to have everything in our image, in our way, in the way we think it should be in the world, to that of having everything in God's image. And so what makes us fall out of that state of love? Well, it's usually ego and expectations. In many of us, if someone does say something to harm our ego or personality, we immediately fall out of the state of love. I know my brothers can set me off in a nanosecond. It's just like, You know, we hear stories of friends and relatives who got along marvelously for years, and then some kind of infraction occurred or some kind of wrong perception, and then they don't speak to one another for years. Has anybody ever heard stories like that? Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, you know, life is short, and I guess being a hospice chaplain for a couple of years with people dying, when they finally let go of those things that have been harboring for years, you know, it was kind of heart-wrenching to go, you know, if you'd let that go decades ago, you wouldn't be kind of like dying right now of, you know, stuff. So, holding unforgiveness is holding junk, trash, and garbage in ourselves. And if we have garbage in there, it'll come out. It'll come out in conversations, as resentment, victimhood, anger, naysaying, etc. It all indicates that we're not keeping our temple pure. And unforgiveness causes disruptions in the body. It causes illness, and because we are one body, we spread the dis-ease. And there's a beautiful healing story of these two up there, of Donata and Alfred. They were victims of the genocide that took 800,000 people in Rwanda. They're a married couple, and he is a Tutsi and she's a Hutu. She is the murderer's daughter, he the son of the murdered victim. And they lived in the same village for years with their family since childhood. They didn't think anything of being a Tutsi or a Hutu. And their parents were friends with one another. But then in 1994, when the Hutus started exterminating the Tutsis, Donata's father joined a group of militiamen who killed Alfred's father and other members of their family. And when this couple decided to get married, Donata's father, who was in prison for the crime, was not happy. He couldn't accept the fact that a Tutsi was asking his daughter's hand in marriage. But now, that father has come back to live in the neighborhood close to the family of his victim, thanks to the kid's marriage. Now the parents-in-law are good neighbors. The daughter says, I don't care what my father did, I just want to live in peace. And this, Alfred echoes her saying that his wife had nothing to do with the sin the father committed. And the man forgave his father-in-law because he went to the couple's home and demanded pardon for what he did. And so he was able to get out of jail. And that's a beautiful example of forgiveness that has impacted the entire country of Rwanda. And of course, it didn't please everybody because there are those kind of hardened people that don't want to see that. Unforgiveness takes up the high rent space of our mind. And so when we are aware that something's going round and round and round and round and round and round like a broken record in our mind, we might ask ourselves, why am I holding on to this? It prevents us from receiving all the gifts meant for us to receive. Negative thinking will never make our lives positive. Never. So, for over 2 decades, a group of scientists with the HeartMath Institute, a nonprofit research organization, have been researching the electromagnetic fields of the energy associated with the heart. And they tell us that the heart emits an energy field that extends around the body several feet. And anyone experiencing this field of energy, assuming it was emitting its purity of natural love, would instantly feel the feeling, this is one of us. So I wonder, when I call everybody that fills out one of those e-news welcome sheets that said they want to be on the e-news, I always call them and I make sure that they don't have any questions, and I always ask them if they feel welcomed, and they're like, oh yeah, that felt great. So I'm wondering if it's because everybody's heart is opened and they're emitting that love energy when they come here. And of course, animals are the great barometers for what kind of heart energy a person is broadcasting. So both scientists at HeartMath and the spiritual mystics tell us that our energy fields are constantly affecting one another and influencing our responses. And we have a process we're going to do after communion, which will keep us all more heart-connected. So now we're going to have our meditation song, and then we're going to have our communion. And if this is the first time here, we take, today is apple juice and crackers, and we take that to mean we are appropriating, we are intaking the teachings of truth. That is the bread that we take. And the apple juice is we are letting those teachings of truth that we're intaking flow through us, really flow through us and be a part of us. So we will sing our meditation song, and then we'll have communion. Einstein said, honor your heart over your rational mind. Use your mind to serve and follow your heart. David MacArthur, a dear friend and one of my mentors, has written this lovely book, of which we have a couple copies in the bookstore. And he's long been a student of heart math for a few decades. And he's come up with this following process. He has wonderful examples of how he used the process and how it came to be in this book. So if you want a copy, it's in the bookstore. So step one, he says, something comes up, thank you. And it's a situation that's maybe unexpected and we immediately can react to it. And he says, step one is simply touch your heart and breathe. He said, just this simple gesture has a habit of pulling us into a state that we're receptive to connecting with our heart. Just the act of touching our heart. So I'm glad most people are doing that right now. And he says, and then breathe through your heart. And he says, now, you don't really breathe through your heart. You breathe through your lungs and your nose and your mouth. But if you pretend that you're breathing through your heart, that you actually then focus more on the area of your heart. So that's the first step. Just touch and breathe. It's really quite simple. So you get overwhelmed about something and you just touch and breathe. Now the second step is a step called remember and feel. He said the second step is the one that actually activates the transformation within our hearts. And the activation code is a real heart feeling. It's a feeling when we're truly connected and our heart is full. It's that feeling of love, and then the heart itself guides us. So he says there's a number of feelings that you can bring out of your memory bank. It's when your heart is full and you have deep appreciation. So it may be when you had your first child, maybe when you got married, maybe you did something for someone and they so appreciated it, it made your heart full. Maybe it was sitting at the ocean and watching the ocean, or a beautiful sunset, or hiking in the mountains, or being with somebody who really loves you, your spouse, or a grandchild, or an aunt, or an uncle. But it's conjuring up that memory of something that really makes your heart full. So let us take half a minute and really do that. So you feel that wonderful feeling. You actually experience it, even though it was long ago. And that as you experience it right here, right now, it's in us and it's powerful. And that is the remember and feel. And this is a second step, that when we do this, we're transformed, because our physical heart now is open and it has let the power of the heart in. So we no longer have that feeling of overwhelmedness or frustration. The physical heart has transformed the body, and our spiritual heart now frees us from the emotional reaction that a moment ago we were going to just be debilitated by, and we're now free. 2 steps, touch and breathe, and then remember and feel. So now we're free of the way our mind was going to process the world. Our spiritual heart's power is flowing through our system. And that brings us to the final, simple 3rd step, and that is sincere asking. And this is a step when our heart gives us a new perspective. And as we just take time to do this process, that amazing wisdom of our heart makes us better to able to understand ourselves, able to understand another person, able to understand the situation more clearly. And it's the sincere asking. So steps 1 and 2, stop the stress. They bring us to that 3rd step, deep sincerity. And we ask. And it can be whatever question you want. He found most effective is, what is the most effective response to this situation? That may not fit you. You may want to wordsmith and figure out what that is for you. But as we connect with those 3 steps, and everybody should have gotten one of those little 3rd-page handouts. Did everybody get one of those? Yeah. So let's say it together. What is that 1st step? Touch and breathe. What's that 2nd step? Remember and feel. And that 3rd step is asking. I read something, I think early this morning, it was in a book, and it said, all progress takes place outside the comfort zone. Amen. All right, and there's a few people that are here for the very first time, so we want to welcome you, and we want to bless you. Can you raise your hands just so we can bless you? All right, great. We love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we hold Christ in you. And now we have a prayer that I skipped, didn't I, Dan? So we'll say that prayer. And we'll be saying this all month, the Holy Spirit prayer. So let us say together, the swift and powerful action and activity of Holy Spirit now moves through our consciousness here at Unity Spiritual Center, gently removing all thoughts, behaviors, beliefs, and ideas that are not in accord with the Jesus Christ teachings of truth. The swift and powerful action and activity of Holy Spirit here at Unity Spiritual Center now draws to our consciousness all people, thoughts, behaviors, beliefs, and ideas that are in accord with the Jesus Christ teachings of truth. All right. Oops, can we look at that again? It's pretty cute. All right, now it's time in our service when we get to contribute our tithes, our blessings, our offerings. And they go forth to achieve our vision of an awakened, a shared spiritually awakened world, where we really realize we're one global family, and we make all our decisions, all the way that we live based on that. So let us affirm, divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I am grateful.
Everybody knows this song. Please share in singing. What was that?
How about that?
All right. That was fun. And if you'll all join consciousness with me up here as we bless these tithes and these offerings. We see them going forth, multiplied many times over. And we see them going out to create a kinder, gentler, more peace-filled world. A world where everyone is free and where everyone has enough to meet all their needs, including the need to really realize their full potential and become God-realized. And for this we give thanks in the name and in the nature of our elder brother, Jesus the Christ. Amen. Amen. And if you're new and you do not know the peace song, you want to position yourself and get in a big circle so you can see the screen.